Hello, God's good people. It's good to be back with you again. I've been busy, and today I wanted to show you exactly what I've been up to, if my phone will cooperate. So, let me see if I can turn this view around, and it looks like it's going to give me a problem. Okay, I'll try to add the video of what's going on out here in my backyard at the end, because I've got to figure out what's happening. But anyway, I can start here. To get things rolling, I tried to plant ahead of time. They said to start planting, I believe they said maybe 6 weeks before the last frost, in order to have some, nice size seedlings to transplant into your garden bed. So I was anxious to do that, so I got that started, got the seeds planted. And the sprouts, they popped up pretty well, pretty quickly. And they looked good, looked healthy, like they would be good transplants. But let me tell you, that is one of the hardest jobs ever, to try to get a seedling to continue to grow properly, because they need a certain amount of sunlight. They need warmth, for germination to even come out of the soil. They need a certain amount of warmth. Then once they break the surface of the soil, they need a certain amount of sunlight in order to, help them to grow like they should. And if you don't have the right amount of sunlight, which means you need to have a setup where you have the grow lights to put above your plants to get them to, come up out of the soil and be strong and have a nice good stem and root system. But if you don't have a setup that is just designated for that type of thing, like you have a garage that you can maybe convert into a makeshift greenhouse where you can control the temperature and everything. I don't have a garage, so everything I was trying to do had to be done inside of my house, and that was very difficult. Now, I did get some lights that were equivalent to what a grow light should do, and then you're supposed to have the light a certain distance from the actual plant, so that the plant would, it would be, the sun would be mimicked and the plant would just automatically grow. Okay, the thing with that is, if you put it too close, which some gurus, YouTube growing, YouTube farmers, I'll put it that way, YouTube growth gurus, they said you need to have it just like maybe so many inches above the plant. So when you try that, it looks like it was frying it. So I said, well, that can't be right. The plant looked like it's stressed out. So you try to move the light back a bit, and then something else would be wrong or needs to be adjusted. It is very difficult to try to mimic what God has already put in place. That's what it all boils down to. They say you water them every day, but certain plants don't like to have their roots wet. They don't like wet feet, is how I've heard it explained. So some you need to water every day, and keep the soil moist. And then some things don't like the soil too moist. And so you try to back off of that one. You have to try to learn the pattern of every seed that you plant. And being new at it, that was quite a challenge. So I was trying to do this and pulling back on that and trying to increase this. And then you have to try to think about the things that would nourish the plant to get it to grow like it should. You had to think about all that. Can't be too harsh because it might burn the roots, and so you try to back off of that because you don't want to harm the plant especially after you've seen it grow from seed to a seedling, then you're excited. You know, you want to really get it where it needs to go. Then if you have multiple seeds, because they usually encourage you to plant seeds, like maybe three to each section in your tray, your grow tray. And so you get 3 sprouts that come up. So that's exciting. Okay, wow, we're going to have a lot of this, huh? All right. But then they instruct you that you need to try to clip off the least healthy looking and just have 1 plant per cell. So I'm thinking, well, that's kind of ridiculous. Why would you want to? They call it thinning. So why would you want to cut off a perfectly good sprouted plant? So what I tried to do was maybe separate them and give them their own little space, because I figure, you know, the more you have, the better. Well, that ended up not being a great idea. So I was a little faint of heart when it came to thinning. I didn't quite like the thinning process. But we had quite a few that looked like they were going to make it, but certain plants, you had to pinch off the flower if a flower started to bud, because that would tell the plant that it was ready to produce the fruit. But it was still in the small seedling stage. It hadn't been transplanted yet, so you had to pinch that off to keep it, you know, to grow more leaves. Oh my goodness, it was just so overwhelming. So the only thing I can tell you is, a lot of the seedlings, I had seedlings, I mean, from watermelon seedlings, I had cherry tomato seedlings. I mean, it was a lot that was hopefully going to be transplanted into the bed. But because of the artificial setup that I had, because I didn't have any other option, and I didn't want to put them out too early, because then if the weather wasn't stable, then that would kill them, because they have a process called hardening off the plants, where you have to give them a little bit of time outside when they are large enough. You know, they have enough leaves and, you know, they're large enough to do that. You're supposed to put them outside, not in full sun, just put them out in partial sun, partial shade, you know, and if you expose them to sun, let it be the sun that is not too hot, because you don't want to actually boil your plants, you know, putting them out there too early. And then you bring them back in. Send them outside, let them get them, you know, a little breeze on them a little bit. Not too harsh of a breeze though, because that might send them into shock. And then you bring them back in. And after you do that for a certain number of days, like maybe about 7 days, then after that, they should be okay to leave outside. Oh my goodness. It was quite a task. And I said, Lord, if you just kick in that last frost date, and once we have clearance to take these plants outside, you know exactly what to do with them. Me, I am scrambling, running around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to figure out how to keep these little seedlings alive. So, as soon as the date had passed, and then we had some rainy issues. We had some stuff that was going on. It seemed like it lingered a little bit more, where I didn't feel comfortable putting them out. So a few of them I did bring out, like the watermelon seedlings. I think they were good to go, but they didn't make it. They looked okay the first couple of days that I was going to transplant them, but being that the temperature wasn't quite right, like it should have been, I think they didn't make it. They didn't make it. So I have to start from scratch with the watermelon seeds. And I had one cherry tomato plant that did make it. But what I ended up doing was just planting straight from seed. That's what I had to do, because it was not enough that survived the seedling stage to transplant. So I said, well, I felt better about planting them from seed anyway, because I knew if they came up in the environment that they were going to be in, that would be better. You don't have to worry about hardening off and all of that type of thing. So I believe the next time it's time to, sow, I'm going to wait until the temperature is right, and I'm just going to grow from seed, because it's so much easier. Oh, and don't forget about the gnat infestation. Oh my goodness. When those little things got started, it was like, what in the world? I wanted to throw everything out at that point, because that is such a nuisance to have those gnats, buzzing around, and they love to be in moist soil. I think that's where they lay their eggs, and the larva, it goes down to the roots, and the larva eats the roots of the little seedlings. So one day your plants are looking fine, and the next day it's laying over on the pot. I was like, well, what happened? What happened? So it is so much to try to keep up with. And I just thought about that thing. I said, you know what? God has an awesome, awesome job that he does extremely well. He knows the things that we need. He knows how much of it we need. And he knows that for all of his creation. For us as humans. He knows it for the animal life. He knows it for the plant life. And even the insects. There's so many insects that you have to watch out for when you're growing plants too. And then some of them are helpful. They're helpful to keep some things away that are bad to the plants. And then some things you have to watch them, don't let them get next to some of the things that you don't want them to get. It's just so profound how God just weaved the whole setup of life into place. And I say, when it comes to us, we're the same way. There's certain things we need a lot of, and there's certain things, that we should stay away from. A lot of things we don't need, and if we overindulge in it, we do that to our demise. Some things we need a lot more of, and if we don't get that, then, we don't fare off too well. But God has it all under control. He knows when to do this, when to insert this, when to draw that back. And it's just amazing to think that he can do anything that needs to be done when it comes to his creation. So this journey has been such a learning process for me, because we can't know everything. And I've noticed that just listening to different YouTube gurus when it comes to, growing plants and things like that, they all have different opinions about certain things. So it's really a trial and error to learn what works best for you. And I guess for wherever you live, the region that you live in, it probably requires different things as well. But God knows it all. And he can do it so effortlessly, where we struggle and we have so much to learn about so many things that it is difficult to get it to work the way you really want it to work and the way it really should work. Now, I'm quite sure people who have been farming for years, and I have seen some of those farmers too, show you how to handle plants. Just like I said, I was a little, I didn't want to cut away a good, healthy looking plant and get rid of it. I felt like you could just give it its own little section, little spot, and they would just do just fine. But some of the farmers, when they were thinning out, they said, okay, so we're going to keep this one, that one looks good. And he would just yank it out and throw it to the side. It was like, oh, clutch my pearls. He threw that perfectly good. But that's what he's been doing for forever and ever. And so he knows exactly what he can discard and what not to discard. So it's been a learning process, and it's been very exciting. And I do want to show you what I have coming up. I just planted a few more things the other day, but I'm trying to get this camera to turn, and it's not really cooperating with me today. But let me see if I can do some switching. Please bear with me. Oh well, I couldn't get it to turn. So what I'll try to do is do a separate video showing the things that I have growing, and I'll try to attach it to the end of this video. Okay, I'm learning. Please hang in there with me. But I'm so glad to be back with you again, and it's going to be fun, you know, me getting a chance to show you how the plants are coming along as they're growing. And maybe show you what it looks like to see fresh vegetables on a plate that don't have any artificial chemicals, preservatives, and all of that. And I'll let you see what that looks like, because I'm anxious to see it myself. Okay? So thank you for stopping by. It's good to be back. And I will be seeing you soon, because I have to get on the ground running now. I've gotten this growing the plants thing pretty much to a point where I think I can maintain and then still do my videos as well. Okay? Thanks for stopping by. Okay, here we go. This is what I have going on in the garden. Now, this is my little tree bed here. I don't have anything planted in there just yet. I have to decide what I'm going to put in there. I have 1, 2, 3. I have 3, 4 large and 2 small at the very top. And have this little system going through here to keep them from swaying if the wind should blow, because they're sitting on a patio table, a glass patio table. And I didn't want them to blow over, so I have a pole going down this soft, what do they call that? It's the pool, whatever you call it. It's for being in the pool. I can't think of the name of it, but anyway. Then I have this bed right here. This bed has, I just planted this one, so you're not going to see much. That's zucchini in this section. This section over here is squash. What do they call it? It's the yellow squash with the heavy bottom, if that makes sense to you. Butternut, yeah, butternut squash in that one. And then I have it covered with tulle, because this keeps the squirrels and the birds from getting in and messing with your seeds. I learned that from a YouTuber. On this side, I have some lettuce that's growing there, and this grows pretty quickly. 45 days, I should be pulling lettuce from there, and it's called the Grand Rapids lettuce. This one is some basil, some sweet Italian basil, and that takes 85 days actually, but I wanted to have some basil out here growing. This section here is carrots. It's the red cord châtaignier, and that's 70 days to harvest. So I tried to put the ones that are going to be out here the longest together. And then I have some containers here, because our container gardening is something I'm going to do as well. I don't have anything planted in this yet, but I have the soil in there is ready. I'm trying to decide what to put in there. I have 2 of those sitting on chairs. You know, you just have your little chair and then the little small containers. It just sits in there. And that's good. It's handy. And I'm going to have a separate covering. I just have it covered now so it just won't rain in there on the soil for right now. All right, then we're going to switch around this way, and I have 2 beds. I have 2 beds planted, set up back here. This one. Okay, where's my little instruction sheet? It tells me what I have planted. All right, I'll start with this end. All right, there is a Cherokee purple tomato section right here. I tried to do the 4 square planting. So that section has that. This one has, what is this, the garden beans? Garden beans, Kentucky Wonder. And those are coming up nicely. So I have some plants there that I probably have to, is that showing well? Okay, I guess you can see it, yeah. Then I'm going to have to put a trellis up. I don't think they get extremely high, but I am going to put a trellis up so, you know, to be easier to reach in and pick them. Now here are some more beans. These are garden beans, top crop. And look how lovely they are. And I grew these from seed. Aren't they lovely? They didn't look like this at all inside the house. Not at all. Okay. And then this last section on this side of the bed is the pea. Those are peas. Alaskan peas. And those are coming up nicely. All right. And this section is, that's a pea also. And they call that one the Little Marvel. Little Marvel pea. It's kind of hard to get that good view because the tool, but that tool is going to come in handy to protect the plants from the birds and squirrels and bunny rabbits. I mean, you know, I have it all back here in this yard. And these right here, this is the lima beans. Those are the lima beans. And I think I have some more that are popping this, are going to pop up. I know I planted more than that. So hopefully they're on their way up. And on this end is beets, Detroit dark red beets. And it's a couple of those that are popping up. And that whole square is 12 by 12 squares that I have these planted in. Then in the middle here, that's arugula. And all of that has popped up. Okay. That's arugula there. And that's coming through. Behind the arugula is rutabagas. And all of those are coming up nicely. Okay, and I'm gonna swing around this way. And it's raining out here, guys. Okay, this end has some spinach. And I see a few little sprigs of that coming up. Just a few. But it's plenty planted there, so I guess it's on its way. But I do see a few little sprigs. This side is some romaine lettuce. And that's coming up. Pretty good. This is radishes, and they say these grow very quickly. So I know I'll be harvesting that very soon because it said 25 days of harvest, so that's going to be right on me pretty soon. And that's more romaine. So I have romaine planted in this spot here, and then on the other side of the radishes, that's another square of romaine that's coming up. Okay, next section toward the front. Now these are some of the broccoli seedlings that I transplanted out. Now I don't know if they're going to grow like they should, because these were seedlings and they got really leggy, and I don't know if I was clipping them correctly in order to get them to grow like they should, because they look like flagmen, to tell you the truth, like they're holding a flag saying this way, come this way. And the seedlings that I have seen, they don't quite look like that. So I also planted some actual seeds in the next square over. So what you see coming up there in the middle, those are actually broccoli from seed that are coming up. So I say, well, I tried what I could try in the house, and if that turns out wonky, I'll just switch to the seeds. Then in the front here, that's some more broccoli seedlings. I had plenty of seedlings that I just didn't want to, you know, dispose of, but they just don't look like they should be looking according to what I've seen. All right, and then this is Brussels sprouts. These are the ones, let me see, are those? Yeah, those are seedlings. Those are the Brussels sprout seedlings, and it looks like they are growing a bit since they've been out here, but not as much as I would think that they should have grown by now. But you know, hey, I'm new. And then behind that, I also did seeds for the Brussels sprouts. So I did new Brussels sprout seeds and broccoli seeds to see how they actually will, you know, survive from seed, which I think is going to be wonderful. Then here I have some spinach, and I have two types of spinach actually planted. I have this one called a long stem, dark. It's two types. So I planted two types, you know, because it's good to have multiple things in your salad if you want to do a salad. So that is coming through nicely. That's 40 to 48 days to harvest. Then on the side right here on the edge, I have some, those are marigolds that are planted there. And those are from seedlings from the house. And they still look a little petite there. But then I also did some from seed. I put some from seed down this end, because this is the bed that will have the type of plants that will benefit from the marigolds. Marigolds are supposed to be deterrents to certain bugs that will get on your plants. It's supposed to, you know, send off some type of aroma that they don't like, so the bugs will, you know, not hang around to mess with your plants. Okay, now this is from seed. No, this is a seedling that came from the house, and that is the cherry tomato. That's the only cherry tomato seedling that made it. And that little tiny one beside it, those are the two that made it to come out here. Those two right there. And I hope it catches on. It looks bigger than it was when I first put it out here, so maybe it will. Maybe it will. And this one in the back, that one that's sitting there by itself, what is that? That is a beefsteak tomato. That's a nice hearty, heavy tomato, and hopefully that will take off, because I do like tomatoes. And in the middle back there, what is that? these pictures may not be, this video may not be as clear. That's sweet peppers. Sweet peppers, and do I see anything peeping through yet? I don't see anything just yet. What is the time on that? I think it's down in the dirt. I can't really see it. Okay. All right, so then we're going to move back here to the grow bags. This grow bag here has strawberries in it. And you can see there's some breaking ground there. And this little bag has little pockets on the side. You can see one popping out of that pocket. A couple on top. And here's the other strawberry grow bag here. It has something coming out the side pocket there. Small mini on top. And there's some on that side. It's coming through. So we have two large grow bags of strawberries. Now these, it's like something's nibbling on it. This is my okra. And I don't know what that is nibbling, but he better get out of the way because this is one of my favorites. I love okra. And it looks like it wants to do well. If something will stop nibbling on it, so I'm gonna have to check that out and find out what likes to nibble on okra. And plus I have the screen up here, so I don't know. And this is cabbage. That's coming up there. And this is collards that are coming up in that one. And in the very back, what is that? That is kale. Okay, so we have kale, collards, and cabbage in those three bags. And I forgot, my daughter planted something in those two. I can't remember what it is. I'm gonna have to get a stick in there to help keep up with what that is. And I think these are just some, I think those are different spices. Maybe rosemary, thyme, or something in the middle. Those three. And I bought these out here and set them under this netting to protect them because we want to do everything, you know, the rest of what we have outdoors. And then next planting season, we'll probably use the soil from these and put them in the bed. I think I'll probably fill this bed because it's very expensive to fill these beds with soil. Although I did have leaves under the first bed. But these, this bed here, I said I'm going to just use it for coverage with the grow bags. And next planting season, I'll probably just fill both of them, and then we'll just use the grow bags and have a covering for those. All right, this is cucumber, and it's 68 to 72 days, and look how healthy those are. They really look good and strong. And it looks like something else going on the side there. Kind of reminds me of a broccoli or cauliflower. That's what it looks like. All right, then this grow bag here is supposed to have cauliflower in it, and I don't see, oh yeah, I do see one little seedling right there that's popping through. Okay. And this is radishes. This is two types of radish. It's the gourmet blend radish, and the other one is what is that one? Gourmet blend and French breakfast. Yeah, French breakfast radishes. And these are 24 days to harvest. So I should be pulling some of those out within a day or so. And here, that last one in the back is Roma tomato. Roma tomato. Those are coming up a little slow, but I think they'll be all right. And it's raining today too. Now that's the last section right there. I don't have anything in there. The leaves, which I have plenty of trees. And I'm getting a lot of, so you can see the coverage I have overhead. Trees are in abundance back here. Well, and that's a sign that I found thrifting the other day. I actually got this sign for the wood because I was going to use it to make some trellises and things like that, because it has a lot of wood the way it's put together. I was going to dismantle it, and then after I got it home and I looked at it, I said, oh, that's really nice. It says, believe there is good in the world. And then the way they colored 3 words there in blue, it says, be the good. And so I said, oh, now I'm gonna have to post that. I'm not gonna take it apart. So that's gonna be the theme of my garden. Anything inspirational and encouraging, that's what I want to have out here in my garden. So you have that wonderful feeling looking at God's green earth, His nature. So that's basically what I have going on so far. So I will be keeping you updated with how it's coming. Okay? So thanks for watching. See you next time.